Hey guys, welcome. How are you doing today? Today I thought I would sit down and do a little get ready with me video, and the twist on this one is that I'm going to be using all new brushes from Real Techniques. I placed an order on Ulta's website. They've got a lot of interesting looking new brushes, and I've played around with them a little bit prior to this video, so I have a clue about what I'm getting into and the way I think I want to, work them into my look. But somebody just told me yesterday, I miss your get ready with me videos, and so at least that's the way I thought their voice sounded in my head. So I'm like, I miss them too. I want to do one. Here's the thing about Real Techniques though. It's like, okay, they are a drugstore makeup brush brand, they're a drugstore brand. And when they started, I feel like everything was in this kind of like $5, $6 sort of low cost price range, or you might get like a $10 set of brushes. Now it's kind of like they're pulling an elf on us. They're getting some things that are really kind of pricey. I mean, I spent $20 on this one brush from Real Techniques. So a fantastic product is a fantastic product. If you come away feeling like, yes, it was worth it, then I guess that's fine. It's like they're just gonna creep it up there, as the price of some of their things. But I do think, the brand is evolving. There are still a lot of really affordable brushes in their line, don't get me wrong, but they're just introducing a lot of things that fans of Real Techniques are gonna want, but then they're gonna be like, am I ready to spend $20 on one brush? I do wanna take this opportunity to talk about a little foundation-y splurge. It's the YSL All Hours Foundation with SPF 20. Got it here in B40 Sand, and this foundation has been really good for me. I don't think it's like super one of a kind. The coverage is great, it's thin, it wears really well. I think I might even prefer the staying power of it over that Giorgio Armani Power Fabric, but I did put it through some stuff last weekend, and that's why I wanted to talk about this. We went to a dueling pianos thing, to which I wore a sweater dress. And I decided I was gonna dance quite a bit too. And so I was like sweating and got this foundation on, and I could feel the sweat like around my hairline, coming up around my nose and stuff. But my foundation actually looked really good still at the end of the night. I mean, my makeup as a whole, and the foundation has a lot to do with that. So there was that. And the next day I go out to a football game. Yes, it's October, but it was like upper 80s temperature wise, sitting in the sun, again with this foundation, and it also wore well. And you guys are saying, I thought this was a get ready with me, not just a sit and chat video, but okay, I'm gonna put some of this foundation on. And normally, I like to patch the product around on my skin a little bit, and I like to do that because I feel like whether I'm using a sponge or a brush, it's like the product is there. It's not absorbing into my hand while I wait to blend out a certain area. But I went on the Real Techniques website and I was watching the little how-to videos and the ways they recommended using their certain new brushes. They did say put your foundation on your hand, pick it up with your brush, buff in circular motions. So this is one of those really dense, like this is a little chunk brush. That's me and my sister's terminology for like little chubby animals, chunk. And so this is a chunk. And it's the Blend and Blur line, that's what this is. And it's the base foundation brush. And I would say, like, I don't have a whole ton of these brushes. I don't have the super expensive, what's the name of the really pricey ones that came out like this? The paddle style brushes. I don't have those, but I've tried like a few knockoffs here and there. I've tried the Moda ones, which are really good. What I feel like I'm picking up on with the Real Techniques, first off, this is a good size for foundation. It's not massive. There's a lot of taper down the sides too, so you can kind of like work the side of the brush and feel like you're still getting blending action. But anyway, I'm gonna do maybe 1 3/4 pumps of that stuff on my hand, pick up a little bit, and we're just gonna start putting it on this way. It's so soft, but it's gonna be a stiffer feel, compared to if you blend with a Sigma F80 a lot or something like that. There's some movement to the bristles, but not a ton. Hit the nose. Okay, screw it, I gotta get some of this on here. Hit the tip of my nose, as we've talked about. But it really is efficient blending, I feel. I think I do actually still like putting it on my face first and then blending with this. But using a brush this size, your foundation is going to be blended out really, really quickly. I dig the brush, but I look at a brush that I have kind of similar to this from iKate House, and it does have a really similar feeling application and similar softness to the bristles. Is this one worth $20? I'm not so sure. The other thing I wanted to talk about real quick is the YSL concealer, the All Hours concealer, which I have in 40 PA2. This is a great consistency of concealer. It's so thin and amazingly full coverage. My problem with this is that it seems to like dry down a little bit more. The under eye area looks absolutely flawless, like right after I put this on. And then there's just this dryness. I feel like I've talked about this. I think I talked about this in new luxury brands or luxury products that I was trying video. So this for me, coverage-wise, consistency-wise, great product, but performance-wise, keeping my under eye looking nice and fresh all day long, I would say Shape Tape wins over this one. And here's something I love. I love taking my erase paste. I'm gonna call you erase paste, even though you got that Boing name on there. I'm gonna call you erase paste. Ooh, this is number 3. I accidentally picked up number 3 out of my drawer. I usually use 2, but this will be fine. I can use either. This is just a little deeper peach. But what I was gonna say is this product under just about any concealer does not get things cakey. It really like adds some coverage to under eye darkness and just camouflaging the under eye darkness really, but it doesn't mess with any concealer that I put on top, and I love that. And I also have the cheek brush from this line, but I'm going to use this first as a concealer. Like, see how small it is? They had a few different sizes. Like, I think they had, did they have a contour one or one specifically labeled contour? I can't remember, but this size appealed to me because I thought maybe I can use that for concealer too. So I'm blending out the erase paste. We're gonna top it off with some of the Shape Tape. This is like my full coverage under eye that I'm currently loving. So that helps darkness tremendously. Then I take my light medium. Doesn't take a lot. Stuff is potent. A little bit out in there, a little bit out here, and a tidbit around the nose. And then I'm going to try this brush for that as well. This is my first time using this brush with Shape Tape. It's getting me a great like spread all throughout this area. Like, I didn't apply much product, but you can see it's really covering a large surface area with this brush. Because, you know, the brush is sort of big for concealer. Then I'm going to kind of blend around the edge. I thought this was going to be harder to get around my inner corner of my eye, but it's actually totally getting there. The cavern, folks. It's getting in the cavern. Okay, this has been good. This has been a pretty good experience here with this brush. How much was this one compared to the big honkin' $20 foundation brush? Okay, yeah, they do have one that's called Contour that's a little bigger than this. That's $16.99, and this cheek brush is $16.99 as well. And then they have something called Blend and Blur Shadow Brush that's smaller yet compared to this. The other line of brushes that's new is called Instapop. And these, I think, are designed to work really well with loose powders. But if you go on the Real Techniques website, which I highly recommend doing, going on there and looking at the different videos that they have made that accompany the brushes. Like, I mean, they're really good about showing you the actual tutorials. And like, this is the Instapop face brush. They were using this, I think, with liquid foundation, for example. But this is also for concentrated coverage using loose powders, designed for full coverage setting, baking, and powder application. There is an extreme taper for concentrated application. Look at that. I love that shape. I actually have a brush from Tarte that I talked about years ago, and I don't know that this was, I think they sold this alongside a foundation once, but it's this fabulous shape. Really, really steep taper, but extremely soft. I'm sure I would like applying foundation, like a liquid foundation with this, but I'm gonna try it today for stamping on some powder. So I got my Laura Mercier. This is probably my favorite loose powder for baking purposes. I'm gonna just pick up a good amount on this brush and see how it does. Like, I'm getting a decent amount of powder on there, but it's not really a... Here, there's a little more. I think I just picked up more on my brush here. I'm in a small powder cloud right now. For me, I would see this as kind of adequate for baking, or as I like to say, I sometimes microwave. I don't always use all the product many people do for baking on their skin, but it doesn't really like just straight up pack on the product like a sponge does. You know, if I take a flat edge, like the Real Techniques, you know, sponge and dip into here and went pat, 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 I would have, you know, that thick layer of baking going on. And here I was dipping into a lot of powder, but as you could see, it was still giving me, I don't know, a light-ish amount. I still suspect that this brush is going to be fantastic for a foundation application. And this is $10.99, a little bit closer to what I would expect to pay for a Real Techniques brush. And it's a big one too. There are a lot of bristles there. So while that's semi-baking right there, I'm going to go ahead and do my eyebrows. And this is my e.l.f. Instant Lift Brow Pencil, and the shade is Neutral Brown. If you need to just like pick up a quick, super cheap, I think this is a $2 brow pencil, this is a great option. It's so good for my hair color. The other day I did that video about like blending mistakes I sometimes make and just oversights, ways, you know, you get kind of casual with putting your makeup on. And in that very video, like as I was editing, I was so frustrated with my eyebrows because one of my eyebrows just looked totally off from the other. I'm like, case in point, here's another thing I do wrong, but I didn't even realize it until I was in the editing stages. You know what I am loving to listen to? Either in the early mornings, like when I'm nursing Eve, or, you know, whenever there's time, maybe during a nap time or you've got another task you're doing when you can kind of just turn something on and listen. I love listening to Oprah's Super Soul podcast. So good. So many just wonderful, insightful points of view. I feel like when I listen to one of those, I come away with like just some tips on how to live a more connected life to the people around me, gaining a better understanding of why I do the things I do. You know, just can't explain it, but she just talks to some really, really wise souls out there and people who have had a lot of different experiences. And of course I love Brene Brown too. I've listened to her book, the audio book on her new Braving the Wilderness book, which I would really recommend. I think that one's great. Also the book, I don't know when she wrote this. I think it's quite a bit older, but it was a pretty quick listen. The Gifts of Imperfect Parenting. That's a really good one too. Lots of great insights. For some reason, when I'm facing this way and doing my brows into this little mirror with this light in front of me, like I feel like I've got different brows than I do when I'm looking that way and just getting ready on a normal day, you know? What is that? Does your setting ever totally throw you off when you're trying to do different makeup stuff? So I just kind of get them evened out a bit, brush through, grab some sort of gel. I'm kind of in a stage of just trying to use up some brow gel products. So this Makeup Forever number 35, it has some tint to it, and I'm not using it because I'm like wild about it. I'm just trying to sort of, and there's what I do with it like every time. Having deja vu. Was there not another video where I did that exact same thing? The brush is huge. We don't need that size of brush. I get like brow stage fright. You know what I've also noticed when I go back to edit videos? When I'm trying to narrate myself doing something, like I quiet down. My voice gets quite a bit quieter. I think it's like I'm just so into whatever I'm doing, I can't quite like talk in full voice, you know? So this brush, as I touch it here, it's like, it feels so light, even though this is a dense brush, you know, but compared to the feeling you get off of one of these, this has so much, you know, movement and flexibility. So I'm actually just gonna use that to sweep across my under eye here and just get rid of any excess powder that might have been there. And then I think I might do a little cream contour because I want to try this brush, the same one I did for concealer, on just some contour around my face. So I got this stick from Maybelline. I've used this before, this little half and half stick. I don't think it's super practical because I think if you really use one side more than the other, it's gonna wear down kind of funky. But I do like the tone of this cream contour. And then just take this little guy, buff it in. Really easy. But back to the Oprah podcast, when people are discussing happiness, the thing that comes up again and again is gratitude and appreciation. And the ability to just really feel that appreciation at all levels, like not just for the big things in your life, like your family or your home or whatever, but the little things too. Just seeing that beauty and that wonder in, you know, the sunrise in the morning or the leaves on the ground or whatever it might be. The people who are operating in that state of appreciation and gratitude tend to be the happiest. And I think that's a really just, I don't know, a good point to keep in mind. There's so much to be thankful for, and you spend too much time on social media, it's just, there's a lot of noise, you know? And it's not bad noise, sometimes it's a lot of great noise and a lot of uplifting good feelings, but then sometimes I get on Twitter and I feel like it's an outlet for YouTubers to complain to their followers about their followers in a way. Does Twitter not feel that way to you at times? It's just become kind of this dumping ground for a YouTuber to make some kind of vague statement about negativity or whatever, and it just kind of makes me feel like blah. And I know we all just want to be heard, we all want to be understood the way we're feeling and things like that, but I think sometimes the better way to work with that energy is to come at it with more of a, like, look at all the things in life there are to appreciate. I'm not going to send my negativity that I'm feeling in this moment out to thousands of people. I'm going to try to really walk the walk and focus on positive things. I don't know, just something I've been thinking about, just the thoughts that are going through my head. Right now I've got the contour on and I want just a little bit of bronzer, but I don't know that I have any brush that's quite loose enough to give me a soft look with bronzer, so I'm going to use my e.l.f. complexion brush. I use this all the time, and I'm using this True Blend bronzer from CoverGirl, just, you know, a little light bronzing. This bronzer has kind of a glow to it. It appears to have that baked look in the compact, but it's surprisingly soft, you know, it's not too dry. The other Instapop brush that I have, or one of the others, is this cheek brush, and this again says for concentrated application of loose pigment blush, but then again on the tutorial video I'm pretty sure they just used regular blush, and I don't use a lot of loose blushes anyway, so I think I'm just going to use this with standard blush. But I do think the way this brush is, this could potentially pick up a lot of product. Even though there is a taper, there's just a large surface area there that could pick stuff up, so I think you do want to be careful about the intensity of blush you're going into with this guy. And I am going to have, probably very soon, some Tarte holiday reviews, so I'm sort of getting a feel for this blush palette here. I think I'm going to go for this more neutral, kind of dusty peach. Ooh, yeah, that did pick up a lot of product. It's a nice application of blush. For my cheek size, this is a good, it's hitting a good surface area. I'm not so sure I need a brush this dense for blush on the daily. Actually, you know what I'm picturing this brush being great for, like this particular size? Concealer. Like stamping on the concealer, spreading it out. Would that not be really perfect right in here? Yeah. Now there's going to be a part 2 get ready with me where I use these brushes in other ways. But yeah, that's a pretty blush shade. I think I want even more depth. I'm going to go down to this one here, this mauve shade. Both of these are matte, by the way. I think I'm going to go ahead and use this for a highlight as well. So I'm going to use this highlight that's on the same side as those blushes. And I'm using like part of the brush. I only loaded down like the top tip of the brush. Not as good for highlight as a smaller brush like my Moda Highlight and Glow brush, but this wasn't precisely designed to be a highlighting brush either, so there's that. Then my Milani Make It Last. Look how much I've used of this lately. Like, I've really truly been trying to give this a good shot the last, I don't know, week and a half or so, and I did use it on both of those days where I mentioned I had really good staying power of my makeup. The event where I danced my ass off in a sweater dress, and also the 85-degree October football game. I was wearing this both of those times, and it's like, where does the credit go? Does the credit go mostly to the foundation? I mean, I've seen that foundation do good things even without this, but did this help? Did this play a role? I think it might have. And so many of you, by the way, when I was talking about this in my Target bestsellers video, you were like, yes, that stuff is amazing. I saw so much positive feedback for that spray in the comments section. Okay, so the Instapop line also has eye brushes. I'm pretty sure I've got the entire Instapop line, the face brush, the cheek brush, and then an eye brush duo. And it says for concentrated application of loose pigment shadows, but again, I watched the tutorial on the Real Techniques website. You can use them really for anything. So the duo that you get is an Instapop shade brush and an Instapop crease brush. Turn them sideways and you can see, you know, the characteristic of this whole line is that great little angle. And that is kind of unique, right? Let me get you in. It truly is a unique shape, I think, for eye brushes compared to a lot of what I have. And as you can see, they've got shadow on them. I was using them a little bit bit yesterday, I found there are some really interesting ways you can use like the smaller one in particular on the lower lash line. I'm going to be doing some of that. What I'm going to try to do is see how much I can stick to just these Instapot brushes just to see how much they can handle on their own. And I do need some eye primer, so this guy coming out to play. I think I'm going to hit up the pumpkin patch for the second time this season. Palette I'm going to use here is the Tartelette Toasted, and honestly, like, it's pretty okay. It's a pretty color scheme. You look at it and you think, yes, that's all wearable. Not particularly uncommon stuff, but I don't know. I've only used it once. I'm just not as head over heels for this as I am for a lot of other palettes that are coming out around this time of year. I am going to have a kind of a big palette roundup over a very specific type of palette I'm seeing coming out again and again. It's going to be a good video. Keep an eye out for it. But this one, it's like, yes, I like it, but would I really advise people to spend their hard-earned money on something with shades that are pretty dang common in the scope of today's eyeshadows? I don't know. But I'm taking the bigger of the two Instapot brushes and I'm going to go into this shade called Latte. And I'm going to just flip that brush over and start wedging this shade in the crease. This video, truly, I'm trying to concentrate a little bit more on what my brushes are doing than exactly like what the shadow's doing. I really like the way this brush wedges in there. You know, I'm just dabbing and the brush is sort of doing the work. I hear an owl outside. Ooh, it's fall. We've got a lot of trees behind our house and we see so much wildlife back there. Deer just walking through at any time of day. Okay, see that? I think that's a decent crease situation there. And then I just kind of rub the brush off on my hand a little bit and I'm using this to buff over my edge. And then I'm going to do a highlight with S'more right up here. Now I'm going to wipe off the smaller brush here real quick, and I'm going to go into Sunset. So this is my smaller of the two Instapot brushes, and I'm going to use this for lid shadow. I love the size of this brush. And I like how when I'm just kind of using that point, it can get me anywhere. Like that can take me around my tear duct. And then this shade called Sunrise seems to be kind of a satiny finish. I'm going to take that around my inner corner. Look at that little splash of brightness. I also want to put some flame on there too. Let's put some flame kind of right here in the middle. So we're overlapping the gold a bit too. This is my pumpkin patch glam. Both Belle and Eve seem to love that so much. Belle likes picking out the pumpkins and there's like a play area with a slide and everything like that. She's all for it. And then Eve just likes riding around in the little pumpkin wagon cart thing. It feels weird to call them Belle and Eve in this video. Honestly, their names are Nook and Little Bit. Yes, let's give the children beautiful names and then just nickname them everything else under the sun. Now Fireside down here. I thought maybe that was going to be a plum. And I thought I was really going to love it. It really is just a very dark brown, FYI. And I'm going to use the same brush that I've been using with that color, nice and dark. Oh, I tell you what, this brush is a dream. If you've got small eyes too, I think you would love this for placement, precise placement. The ability to work that, just the end of it around in different ways is so nice. Okay, now I think I'm going to take the larger of the two and just kind of hit the edge again of what I just did. So I'm practically using the larger as not only a crease brush, but also a blender sort of. I also want just a little bit of warmth. This color's called Warmth right here. I'm going to take a little bit of that right out in this zone. Oh, so pretty. Yeah, like I can't deny the palette is pretty, but dang, there's so much of this thing out there. This kind of thing. Okay, now for my lower lash line, I think I'm going to use the dark brown, and I am using only the tip to pick up this product. So just like that. And then look at how great this is right in here. Oh, this is my answer. Like I was just talking about wanting a really nice soft lower lash line a lot of times. And look at how quickly and easily that did that. That feeling when you're falling in love with a new makeup brush. I think I'm going to blend in a little bit of warmth as well. Just kind of over that. Ooh, it's so smoky, so nice. Next up, I need some black liquid liner. I'm gonna use my NYX matte liquid liner because I'm running out of my Jordana and I don't want to open a new tube yet. And this one, as I said in my Best in Beauty video, I'm a little bit ticked about the way this brush is because I feel like I have to hold it just so. It's flat sort of on one side. If you hold it one certain way, it's gonna be a little wider instead of just being one fine point. I'm picky about the eyeliner, I know. So excited this morning. Eve slept till 5. It was great. She's got this thing where she just wants to get up at 3:30 and start just, not in an all-out cry, but sort of like a moany, sort of like, I'm up, I'm gonna fuzz a little bit kind of deal. But the goal for her, I guess for me, you know, to get work done in the early mornings is for her to wake up around 5 or 5 something would be nice, and then I feed her, put her back down, she goes ahead and sleeps until about 8, and that's when I do work. I get a lot of questions like, are you filming at night or in the morning? And I shoot videos in the morning. Truly though, if I tried to do these videos at the end of my day, I think I would be really sucked for energy. I think I'm reaching that point where I need to step away from the eyeliner. That's as good as it's gonna get. I'm gonna do a little brightening on my lower inner rim. This is my Wet n Wild Ultimate Brow Highlight. If you're looking to wake up your eyes, put that in your inner rim. Boom! This is waking up my soul, that move, yes. Shh, don't tell, I'm bringing in one more brush. I do need my angled brush in this darkest color, just because I don't like the way the edge of my eyeliner looks. Over here was a little rough, the edge of this wing, so I need to smooth that out. At least they put in a nice dark brown shade in this palette. I've tried quite a few palettes these days and they're lacking something really, really dark that can just be one with your eyeliner when you're looking to blend it out. Little foreshadowing there from my upcoming review on several palettes. Then we're gonna curl the lashes. This is like the mascara that won't get used up. Like I use it and I feel like it's still super rich with product in there. It's the Essence Lash Princess Sculpted Volume. It does kind of make my lashes look really long and big, but it's not as good about holding a curl, but I am going to put on some falsies today anyway, so it's okay. We go to a weekly story hour thing in our library. It's really great, and Belle enjoys it to pieces, and the other day we were at that, and there's, you know, one segment of it is the stories. There's little songs and stories and whatnot, and then you go into another room for crafts and a snack. And we're walking between the two rooms, and Belle kind of stops in her tracks. Like, there's a flow of parents and kids, and she just kind of stops, and people are kind of looking at her like, what? And kind of moving around her. And she's staring into these rows of books in the main part of the library, and she's like, there's no ladders here. And I had forgotten that she has one of these little toys, a little people thing, that has a sliding ladder that goes across a bookshelf. And we got into this big discussion about how, you know, sometimes in libraries you can't reach the top books, so they have ladders and they roll. And she was really expecting to see one of those in the library. And when she didn't, it was like she was kind of shocked and maybe disappointed, I don't know. But she was like holding up all these people who are just trying to get from point A to point B, and this kid's like flabbergasted that there's no ladder in the library. For lashes today, I'm going to use some of those number 43s. What was the brand? Cream Shop that I talked about in my iKate House Retail Therapy haul video. I'm going to put those on and then I will join you back here for lips. Okay guys, I would say that's not too bad for a 2-brush eye look. Like, I mean, considering that's crease, that's lower lash line, that was everything but just like that little part under the wing there. Pretty happy with that. Now for lips, I got this Bare Minerals Send Nudes set that I want to try out. It's the Gen Nude Matte Liquid Lip Color, which I love this formula. You're getting 3 full sizes. The shades are Swank, that's the deepest. The middle one is XYZ, and then the lightest is Hemp. And I thought that was going to be like crazy light on the website, but it's still, I think, a very wearable shade in itself. Yesterday I wore the middle one. Today I think I'm going to do this, and maybe I will work in a little bit of the lighter one too. So this one's called Swank. Ooh, look at that. This is going to be pretty. I just love the texture of these. It's so velvety. Now what do? Do I mess with it? Do I add a little bit of the lightest color right in the center? I don't know if I'm gonna be able to hold myself back. I'm gonna try to do it with my finger though, because I don't want to mess up the product that's on the inside. You know, by blending the applicator into the darker stuff. Okay. It can be done with the finger, y'all. Look at that. See, I love a matte lip that doesn't look crusty or strange. That feels good. Does anybody else do that anytime they take their hair down from something? It's like you just get in there to the scalp. Happy with the finished look. I feel very fall. I think I could have gotten the eye look from any number of different palettes. I don't think you need to like rush out and buy the Tartelette Toasted. Love the lip color. Love, love, love. I'm gonna get so much good out of that trio. But as far as the brushes go, that's really kind of the top story of this video. You know, we had these two, which I used for foundation and then concealer and my cream contour. I'm not like jumping up and down for these. I think there are so many affordable knockoffs of this style of brush, and I think you could spend less and really get the same kind of effect elsewhere. This one I kind of liked a little better. You know, I did enjoy the effect on my concealer and I thought it blended well. It got to my inner corners surprisingly well, but I still really like just using a flat foundation brush to blend out my Shape Tape, so I don't see it as super essential. These brushes, the Instapop though, like these and this Duo 2, this could have been my whole face because I could have used this for foundation, which I'm very eager to do because I know I like that shape for foundation, and then this could have been contour, blush, highlight. This really, I think, could be nice for concealer as well. And heck, I probably could be content with this size of brush for foundation too. So if one of these two had to go, I mean, I might use this for all sorts of stuff all over my face. Ooh, maybe that'll be a future video. This brush for every face thing I need to do. But I do love the shape that they're working with here. I don't think I like this as much for baking as I would for a foundation application though. But the real MVP, as they say, I think is the eye brush duo, the Instapop eye brushes. I really wanted to see, you know, if these could do a full eye look, and they totally could. The shape is fantastic. I mean, I think you're gonna get a lot of use out of the bigger one for hitting that crease area and then just kind of blending around your look. And we haven't even mentioned the fact that these synthetic brushes are great for cream shadows too. So you're working in some of those L'Oreal paints or whatever cream shadows you like to use, these would be great for that as well. But this smaller one is an absolute godsend. Like, this was great for shadow on the lid, the outer corner, the lower lash line. It can do it all. And these are probably, yeah, the most affordable thing. Okay, these are $9.99 and so was the cheek brush, $9.99. But here you're getting two and they are just rock stars. So thank you guys so much for taking time to hang out with me today. I'm sure this will turn out to be a really long video, so if you're still here at the end, thank you very much. I would love to have you as a subscriber to my channel. If you want to get continual updates when there's a new video, go for the alerts as well. That's a big key because sometimes YouTube just keeps people out of your subscription feed for no reason. I hope you guys have a great day and I will talk to you again very soon. Bye!